Today on r/today I effed up. Today I effed up by misunderstanding what world's strongest coffee actually meant. Okay, so technically this was on Monday, but definitely one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life. So for context, I absolutely love really strong, dark coffee. There's a running joke among my friends that I drink jet fuel because I brew it so heavy. For whatever reason, that strong flavor psychologically gives me kind of a dopamine rush and wakes me up before the caffeine hits. Anyways, on Monday I had a really important client meeting and my boss had flown into town for said meeting. So I had to meet her at her hotel pretty early in the morning, and it was across town. So I had to get up way earlier than usual and was not having it that morning. Since I was not handling waking up early and kind of in a rush, I hurriedly made my coffee and made it strong. At the store, I had come across this coffee called Death Wish, which was coined as the world's strongest coffee at one point, so I cracked it open, gave the filter a heavy fill, and scurried away to do other morning tasks. I was really excited to try it. In my mind, strong was synonymous with the actual taste, not the caffeine content. For context, the company doesn't release the actual caffeine content, but tests show a 12-ounce cup ranges from 300 up to 750 milligrams depending on how you brew it. Judging by my not-so-light brewing habits, I'm sure that number was far closer to the 750. As I'm going about my morning, I'm hammering it down pretty quickly. Slightly disappointed it was strong, but not what I was expecting out of world's strongest, but hey, whatever, it works. After the first few sips, I look at the clock and realize I'm running out of time. So I say F it and just take my coffee with me to the shower where I can finish it off. A few minutes into my shower, while I'm lathering up and jamming out to Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift, you know, as us dudes who are married to Swifties do, I start absolutely buzzing. At first it was just kind of like that little tremble and I'm just like, huh? And cracked it up to drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Over the next few minutes that feeling gradually increased, and I had the full-on shakes and felt hot. At this point I put two and two together. Strong equals caffeine content. Oopsies. A little concerned, I hop out of the shower, grabbed my phone and googled the amount of caffeine and saw that 750 number and was like, OFF. This sent me into a full-on caffeine-induced panic attack. First panic attack of my life. My legs gave out from the shakes and my heart was pounding while I laid on the fetal position on the ground, trying to chill myself out. I thought I was having an actual heart attack. At the time, there was a little bit of irony in my mind that as a guy in my late 20s who powerlifts and works out 5 days a week, my cause of death would be via heart attack caused by being a dumbass and more or less shotgunning 750 milligrams of caffeine. Not the way I thought I'd go, but I accepted my fate in that moment. I called for my wife, who was extremely confused, very concerned, and her being frantic about me being frantic made me feel worse. But when I explained it, she calmed down, realized I probably wasn't dying and just said, "Oh yeah, that'll do it," and just laid on the floor, pet me like our dogs, and handed me her water off of the sink counter. Then the farts happened. In my panic attack, I started aggressively farting uncontrollably. Not just regular farts or squeakers, but full-blown ground shaking behind rippers every 5 to 10 seconds. Quite impressive and in rapid succession. My wife started laughing and just patted me on the head and started saying crap like, There, that's it, honey. Just fart it out. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." So I'm glad she got some enjoyment out of it because I was not having a great time laying there buck-ass naked and still wet on the bathroom floor in the fetal position, farting uncontrollably and shaking. After about 15 minutes I chilled out a little bit and realized I was okay-ish, and my wife kept an eye on my heart rate and stuff just to make sure I wasn't actually having a heart attack. For the rest of the day I was wired and definitely a little traumatized, but now I think it's funny. Ended up missing the meeting and my boss was a little pissed she flew down here. But hey, crap happens. Sometimes we're dumbasses and drink way too much caffeine. My question is, who in the actual F wants that much caffeine at once? For our next story. Today I effed by downloading the fantasy football app Sleeper on my phone. For context, for those who don't know, Sleeper is a fantasy football platform. I've run a fantasy football league with my high school and college best friends for 15 plus years, and that's how we all stay connected. My wife is very well aware of this and totally okay with it. This morning, I woke up to my wife angry with me and crying profusely. She's a sweet little fawn and seldom gets upset at anything, so I was extremely confused and alarmed at her behavior, and asked what was wrong. She said, "I saw the app in the messages. I know you're cheating on me." I was so confused. She went on this whole tirade about how she's noticed I've been getting lots of notifications on my phone over the past few days in the mornings, and thought I was being secretive. She looked at my phone this morning and saw a message on an app called Sleeper from someone named Riley, and the message read, "God, you're so sexy, my name, I love you." Riley is a burly 6'4" happily married man with 2 kids and lives 4 states away. He is one of my childhood best friends and was at our wedding. She's met him. He was being facetious and responding to a picture I sent in our league chat of my wife and I with one of his favorite country artists this weekend when we ran into him. Our draft is tomorrow night and I've been messaging the guys to get everything set up and she knows this. In her defense, Riley goes by a nickname, so she probably didn't realize or remember that was his actual name. Apparently what happened, she saw the sleeper notification last night, jumped in her little friend group chat, and one of her particular friends is a bit of a crap stirrer, to put it nicely. She messaged back and said, "Oh crap, known hookup app and might be for gay guys. Grindr, not Sleeper. Different app." To be fair, Sleeper does kind of sound like a hookup app, and the logo is just kind of an ambiguous face, and not that different from Grindr. But you could have just, looked in the App Store to see it's a football app. Or, I don't know, ask me what it is. My wife realized the mistake and the poor thing has been embarrassed all morning. I'm not upset with her, and if I was in her position I would have felt the same way, and I forgave her and hope it's a lesson where we can always remember to communicate with each other, as we've always done that so well. But here's where it's gotten dicey as a result this morning. Apparently a couple of the other girls in the chat were like, "Oh crap, I've seen my husband on there too." So now all of these women are checking their man's phones like a witch hunt and confronting them. It was kind of funny to see them all come back to the group and be like, "Oh, oops. Except for one. One girl checked the phone and the app Grindr was in fact on her fiancé's phone. He had a Samsung, so he changed the app photo to look like a calculator but not the name of the app. So now, there's drama going on with that, and apparently this girl is coming to stay in our home the rest of this week while he moves out. All because of a silly fantasy football app that my wife thought was a hookup app. Let's dive into our next story. Today I fed up by choosing a couch over a sexy night. A couple of months ago, I, 22 male, graduated from college. I'd been trying to win over a girl, 22 female, let's call her Alice, for a while. Despite my best attempts, she was as interested in me as a cat is in a bath. Then, out of nowhere I caught COVID right before my finals. Shockingly, she also got sick, and our mutual misery bonded us over Instagram DMs. Eventually, she gave me her number, and we made plans to hang out once we were both better. Fast forward a few weeks and we finally arrange a meetup at a bar. I made the classic rookie mistake of inviting my best friend thinking it would be a casual group outing. When I arrived though, it was just Alice. My friend, being a true wingman, had wisely stayed away. So it was just me and Alice, and the night was a blast. We got so drunk we decided to reenact the opening scene of The Social Network. Alice even called my parents, who were thoroughly puzzled by the random girl calling them at midnight. After our bar escapade, Alice invited me back to her place to watch, surprise, surprise, The Social Network. My brain was still in favorite movie mode, so I was all in for a cozy movie night. When we got to her place, we cooked dinner together and settled in to watch the movie. Midway through, Alice changed into pajamas and came back looking like the embodiment of Netflix and chill. I, on the other hand, started to feel the call of sleep and suggested I should head home. It was already 3 a.m. and she insisted I stay over. There was only one place to sleep in her room, her bed. I awkwardly declined, insisting I was perfectly fine on the couch, which I did. The couch, to its credit, was quite comfortable. The next day, my parents called me, assuming I had done the deed, to ask what the call was about from the day before. I shared the story with my friends, who confirmed I had indeed missed my chance by choosing the couch over a potential romantic encounter. On to the next story. Today I effed up by getting drunk and admitting I like my coworker. I work on a cruise ship, and while we aren't actually allowed to drink even when off the ship, plenty of my coworkers will go to bars at the towns we dock in. One of my newer coworkers is a girl named Mia, who is 23. I have the biggest crush in the world on her, and because we live and work on the ship together, we see each other often every day. We even have a part of our schedule where the two of us work together, and the entire time we're together, we're talking and laughing, and honestly, it'd be hard not to get a crush on her. My 21st birthday yesterday and I got slightly peer pressured by my coworkers, along with Maya, to go to a bar for the first time ever. I had a few drink suggestions from them and was kind of drunk when the subject of relationships came up. Our ship's pastry chef asked if anyone liked anyone on the ship, and I said that I had a crush on Mia since she got on the boat. My coworkers started prodding Mia, asking what she thought of me, and said that I was a good friend, but I wasn't really her type. I didn't say anything else while we were there and cried a little to my roommate. Mia hasn't said anything about it yet. She's acting pretty much how she always did. I'm trying my best, but I feel like an idiot. Our last story for today. Today I effed up by having a wet dream at work. I am currently in complete disbelief because I really never thought this could happen to me. I mean, for one, I never have wet dreams, and 2 to have one during a 10-minute nap is crazy in my opinion. So earlier today, I got off work late, and then had to run some errands, grocery shop, and whatnot, leaving me pretty tired, and with not much time to sleep, let alone beat it. In fact, that's kinda how things have gone for the last week. So I slept for about 5 hours before coming to work and woke up exhausted. From the moment I woke up, I knew I was in for a tough time at the job. I drink my coffee and energy drinks, but really, I was looking forward to my lunch break. I knew at lunchtime I could sneak off to my car and grab a nap. So at lunch, I hop in my car, throw a jacket over my head, and lay there for 15 minutes without a second of sleep. So my mind turns to thinking about a pretty lady I know and some of her features, and before I know it, I'm asleep. I had myself a great dream, very restful sleep. Until I wake up to the sensation of me putting a load in my pants. Truly horrifying because I was wearing black pants today, so it was pretty obvious what happened, at least in my opinion. So I text my boss and let her know I have to run home because of an emergency. So I go home and change and come back, a round trip taking about an hour, and return to an employee improvement plan. I guess I took too long. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.